Deep in the recesses of an abandoned alien hive, the air was thick with the pungent scent of decay and an unyielding silence that blanketed the labyrinthine corridors. The bioluminescent walls pulsed faintly, casting an eerie glow that illuminated the organic structure. In one of the chambers, nestled among the remnants of shattered alien eggs, a peculiar event was about to unfold, an encounter that would defy the natural order of these predatory creatures. A facehugger, sleek and agile, emerged from the shadows. Its sinewy legs moved with predatory precision as it surveyed its surroundings. This creature had one purpose: to seek out a host and implant its parasitic offspring. But something strange lingered in the atmosphere of the hive. Another facehugger, almost identical in appearance, emerged from the opposite end of the chamber. It moved with the same methodical intent, its tail curling and uncurling with a hypnotic rhythm. The two creatures, designed to serve the same biological imperative, found themselves on a collision course. At first, their paths seemed coincidental. Each scuttled across the uneven terrain, their movements synchronized in a dance of evolutionary perfection. But then, as they drew closer, an odd tension filled the air. Their sensory appendages quivered, and their movements became erratic. It was as if some primal instinct, buried deep within their genetic code, recognized a threat, not from a host but from each other. The first facehugger paused, its legs splayed wide as it crouched low. The second mirrored the stance, its tail arching above its body like a poised whip. Their eyeless faces betrayed no emotion, but their bodies communicated an unspoken challenge. The hive, silent and watchful, seemed to hold its breath. Without warning, the first facehugger lunged. Its legs extended like skeletal fingers, aiming to grapple its opponent. The second creature reacted with equal ferocity, meeting the attack head-on. The two creatures collided in a flurry of motion, their sinewy limbs tangling as they fought for dominance. Their tails whipped through the air, striking against the walls with sharp, echoing cracks. The sounds of their struggle reverberated through the hive, breaking the oppressive silence. The fight was unlike anything the hive had witnessed. These creatures were not designed to combat one another. Their biology was tailored for a singular purpose. Yet here they were, locked in a vicious battle that defied their programming. The first facehugger managed to pin its opponent briefly, its legs pressing down with an unnatural strength. But the second creature was not so easily subdued. With a powerful twist of its body, it broke free and counterattacked, its tail coiling around the other's midsection in a vice-like grip. The struggle intensified as the two creatures wrestled for control. Their movements were a blur, a chaotic dance of survival. The first facehugger's claws raked across the smooth carapace of its opponent, leaving faint scratches that oozed a viscous, greenish fluid. The second retaliated with a violent lunge, its legs gripping the other's body and forcing it to the ground. For a moment, it seemed the fight was over. But the first creature, fueled by an inexplicable drive, reared back and struck with its tail, dislodging its opponent and reversing their positions once more. The hive's bioluminescent walls pulsed faster, as if reacting to the unnatural conflict. The ambient glow cast grotesque shadows of the battling creatures, their forms distorted and monstrous. The hive, once a place of order and purpose, had become a stage for chaos. The facehuggers' relentless struggle continued, each seeking to overpower the other in a battle that had no clear end. As the fight raged on, the environment began to show the strain of their conflict. Fragments of the hive's structure broke away under the force of their movements. The shattered remnants of alien eggs crunched beneath their legs, releasing a pungent aroma that mingled with the metallic tang of the greenish fluid that now coated the chamber floor. The hive's silence was shattered by the sounds of their struggle, the wet slaps of their limbs, the crackling of their tails, and the occasional high-pitched screech that pierced the air. Then, something extraordinary happened. As the first facehugger managed to pin its opponent once more, its sensory appendages quivered and extended toward the other's face. It was a motion that mirrored the implantation process, but there was no host here, no purpose for such an action. The second creature responded in kind, its appendages reaching out to meet its attackers. For a brief moment, the two creatures froze, their limbs entangled in a grotesque embrace. The hive fell silent once more, as if holding its breath for what would come next. The pause was fleeting. With a sudden burst of energy, the second facehugger broke free, its tail whipping around to strike its opponent. The impact sent the first creature sprawling, its limbs flailing as it struggled to regain its footing. The second pressed its advantage, lunging forward with a ferocity that seemed almost desperate. It latched onto the other, its claws digging into the soft tissue beneath its carapace. The first creature screeched, a sound that resonated with pain and defiance. But the fight was far from over. The first facehugger, despite its injuries, retaliated with a vicious swipe of its claws. The attack dislodged its opponent and created a brief opening. Seizing the opportunity, it lunged forward, its tail coiling around the other's body and constricting with relentless force. The second creature writhed and struggled, its limbs flailing as it fought to break free. The hive's walls seemed to pulse faster, the bioluminescent glow flickering like a heartbeat. The battle reached its crescendo. The two creatures, now battered and coated in their own fluids, fought with a desperation that transcended logic. Their movements became slower, their attacks less precise, but neither was willing to yield. The chamber bore the scars of their conflict, its once orderly structure now a chaotic mess of broken eggs and fractured walls. The hive, a place of life and creation, had become a battlefield. In the end, it was not strength but strategy that determined the outcome. The first facehugger, recognizing an opening, feigned weakness and allowed its opponent to close in. As the second creature moved in for the final blow, the first struck with calculated precision. Its tail whipped around, striking the other's sensory appendages and disorienting it. Seizing the moment, the first creature lunged forward and pinned its opponent, its claws gripping tightly as its tail coiled around the other's body one last time. The second facehugger writhed and struggled, but its movements grew weaker with each passing moment. Finally, it fell still, its body collapsing to the chamber floor in a lifeless heap. The first creature, victorious but battered, released its grip and rose unsteadily. It surveyed the scene, its sensory appendages twitching as if assessing the aftermath. The hive, now silent once more, seemed to acknowledge the end of the conflict. The victorious facehugger lingered for a moment, its body swaying slightly as it regained its strength. Then, without a sound, it scuttled away into the shadows, leaving the chamber and its defeated opponent behind. The hive's bioluminescent walls resumed their steady pulse, casting a dim light over the scene of the battle. The broken eggs, the fractured walls, and the lifeless body of the second facehugger served as a testament to the unprecedented encounter. The hive, a place designed for order and purpose, had borne witness to an event that defied explanation. The battle between the two facehuggers was a moment of chaos, a rupture in the natural order of things. It was a reminder that even in the most structured of systems, unpredictability could emerge, challenging the very fabric of existence. And as the victorious facehugger disappeared into the depths of the hive, the question lingered. What had driven these creatures to turn on each other? Was it a glitch in their biological programming or something deeper, something more primal? The hive offered no answers. It simply resumed its eternal rhythm, its walls pulsing with a faint, otherworldly light. The chamber, now empty save for the remnants of the battle, became silent once more, a quiet witness to the mysteries of life and the unpredictable nature of survival.